Hey guys, we're live for our 9th episode of Keeping It Real Masterminds. Really excited tonight, whatever your time zone is, about today's topic. It's how to create a top producing agent from scratch. And Greg Harrelson is going to be sharing how he trains agents from scratch to be top producers. I'm going to go into an intro of Greg once we get going. After I got to take care of a few things. For those of you who don't know, my name is Jeff Manson. I'm a Hawaii real estate broker. I've been in the business 21 years. I'm also the founder of Real Geeks, and my co-host is Frank Klesitz, and he's the CEO of Viral Marketing. Say hi, Frank.
Hey, everybody.
All right, great. That's Frank. And then we're getting a great response from these. We're having a lot of people sending in great emails and stuff thanking us for doing these, and we really appreciate that. I mean, that's what really gets us going and wants to keep, it motivates us to keep doing these, don't you think, Frank? It takes a lot of work to put these off, but as long as we're helping people and we continue to get people to share and mastermind and just, you know, show appreciation for what we're doing, we're going to keep sharing. And
yeah,
we'll keep
leave those positive comments on Facebook and Google+. That's really cool to see that. It means something.
Yeah, I mean, it motivates us. And then we've also been saying, hey, how do I get notified of these? So there's about 4 ways to get notified. The best way is to go to keepingitreal.com, and on the right sidebar, there's an opt-in. All you need to do is put your first name and email. We're not going to spam you. You're only going to get email invites for Keeping It Real. You can also follow the Real Geeks Google Plus page, because we try to send out invites, and every time we do an event, it gets posted on there. And you know, if you're following, I believe you'll get notified. You can follow Real Geeks on Facebook. And you can also subscribe to the Real Geeks YouTube channel, which all these go on after as a recording. Mm-hmm. So those are the ways. And feel free to share this, tweet it, whatever you do with other real estate agents, because it really motivates us to keep going, and it inspires us to keep thinking of great ways of you know, finding other great top producers that are doing great things that we can bring them on and share with you, okay?
Yeah, give us recommendations and maybe some, if there's any top agents anyone knows that we should reach out to that would be a good guest.
Yeah,
well.
and hey, and if you know any great top producing ladies, or if we know you, I had one person say, why don't you have any ladies on there? Well, I mean, I mastermind and network, I guess, mostly with guys, but there are great real estate agents out there and top producing that are ladies. Usually a good lady will kick a guy's ass in business. If they're motivated. But anyway, so let me get into introducing Greg. Greg Harrelson is a Myrtle Beach real estate broker. He's been in the real estate business for 20 years, like myself. He's personally going to sell 190 homes this year. 190 himself, okay? He owns 2 offices, one in Myrtle Beach, one in Charleston, South Carolina. So if you really appreciate this and you want to send some referrals, Greg loves referrals, okay? So look him up. Now his team/company will sell 1,600 homes this year, okay? That's 1,600 homes. The average production per agent is like 30 transactions or more a year. I know most brokers out there would love to have that. And so Greg is going to share how he's training these agents to skyrocket and have an actual overall average of at least 30 plus transactions per agent. And here's the deal. Greg has built his personal business to the point where all those 190 transactions, if not all of them, most of them, they're all inbound. So in other words, he's put in the time, the prospecting, put in the systems, all the prospecting, and gone through all the things he's going to share today, but now he's to the point where they're reaching out to him and coming to him. So he doesn't have to stand in there and prospect with expireds and all this stuff, you know, newer agents need to do. They're actually coming to him. So, I mean, that's just amazing. And the reason why is because he put in all the good hard work that he's going to share, how he trains agents, but also he's put systems so he can build databases, his database, and keep sending them stuff of value. Here's the deal. With database, you know, when database marketing, you can't just send the normal, typical drip crap that's out there. I'm telling you, I'm signed up on a couple websites, and you would be amazed at the garbage that I'm getting. It's like, what the hell does this have to do with real estate? Why in the world would I want to work with this person? It's like, hey, kids are back in school. You know, the sounds of buses. Football's back on. I sure hope your kid has great success in school and he brings home some A's. Okay, what's that have to do with real estate, folks? I mean, come on. That stuff is just crap. I mean, you're not building yourself up as an authority in real estate. Okay, I'm getting kind of off track. But anyway, you want to learn.
We'll get all that, Jeff.
I know. I get a little excited. If you want to learn how to work your database and how Greg got to this, or what he's doing with his database since he's got to this point, he was on episode 2. So go to keepingitreal.com, scroll down to the bottom. It's the second one from the bottom, episode 2. How to get more business from your database. If you're sending stuff to your database, which you probably are, and it's probably not so good, you need to watch this because there are so many gold nuggets in there of Greg sharing how to effectively market a database. Anyway, enough of that. Hey, Greg, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm excited to share again and see what we can come up with today.
Great.
So am I. Can you tell?
So the topic here that everyone wants to hang out and learn more about is how to create a top producer from scratch.
Yeah.
And I think I proposed the question when we were coming up with an idea was, if knowing what you know now, you've got to start all over from scratch, what would you do? What would you buy? What would you invest your money in? God knows how much money you've spent and trained in all these different areas. But it's an interesting question for you because it's not just what you would do, but you actually do this because you onboard so many new people into your office, and you got to get them productive.
The majority of everybody's do.
Yeah, you got to get them productive right away. They're entrusting their livelihoods with you. And I think for the hangout today, just to give everyone some structure, I would love to hear from Greg. Where you find agents to work for you and what motivates them to come work in your office versus someone else. What do they got to do to get ready to start selling real estate? Maybe they weren't selling real estate before, or they're shifting companies. And then, what do they do from day one when they walk into the office? We talked about getting script certified. Who are they calling? Where do they get their phone numbers? What do they say? Should they buy marketing? Should not buy marketing? And then all the way up until they can have a flourishing business for themselves under kind of your C21 brand.
Sure.
So my first question would be why does someone what motivates someone to say start selling real estate? Like the why? Like, why would someone want to go into real estate if you're going to start from scratch? Why does someone want to be a top producer? Or why does someone get into real estate? What's the motivating reason you find in your agents?
Well, unfortunately, the motivating reason I think that most people get into real estate, so we're talking about brand new people coming from somewhere else and getting a real estate license. Unfortunately, they're getting in with 3 things in mind. Number 1, they're going to have freedom of time. Number 2, they're going to have unlimited income. And number 3, they're going to be their own boss. Now, I will say the reason why I say unfortunately that's why most people get in is because that's just a myth. I mean, real estate agents, they're workaholics. So I don't know, there's no freedom of time. And you can be your own boss. We see how that works. If we were good at being our own bosses, we wouldn't have the obesity problem that we have in the United States. We need accountability. We need somebody to look over our shoulders. So when people are actually coming into this business thinking they're going to be their own boss, happens to be one of the reasons why the failure rate's so high. And then unlimited income. Again, it goes back to look at the average income of a real estate professional in the United States. There's nothing unlimited about it. It's actually all limited. So, but I still find, even though that's, I share with you that those are myths, that is the thing that's drawing people to this industry. They just find out very quickly that what they thought they were going to get is not here.
So when someone comes to your office, how do you set expectations for someone starting from complete scratch to be successful? I believe you shared with me one time the questions you ask just to qualify them to see if they'd be a good agent in your office. Maybe you can share those, or how do you set expectations up front before you even start the discussion if they should even start selling real estate?
Yeah, well, basically I sit down. One of the first things that I do when somebody comes to me and says, hey, I'm thinking about selling real estate, or, can I come and talk with you? I actually bring them into my office, and then I just throw them right in the middle of all my other real estate agents because, we have a particular office, I call it the training center, where everyone comes in, and there might be 25, 30 agents in there working at 8 o'clock in the morning, every morning, Monday through Friday. I'll bring them in and just throw them right in there and give them a tour and just say, hey, why don't you hang out here for a while? Before we talk about what a real estate career is like and what you want to do, why don't you just come and hang out with us? And they might do that for a day or so, or a couple hours for maybe 2 days in a row. And then from that point, if they still want to talk to me after that, then I'll sit down and talk to them. and then I will go through some questions. But really, I'm looking for three things. Number one, do they have a desire to succeed? Number two, are they coachable? And number three, will they follow? Will they take a systematic approach? So, people always ask me, well, how are you going to know if somebody's coachable? Well, sometimes I'll ask them a question like, hey, Frank or Jeff, I mean, has there ever been a time where you played any sports? Yes. Okay, good. Tell me about a good coach that you've had. And, then they'll go in and start telling me, well, I had this coach and he was really hard and he did this and he did this, but we won the championship. Well, just the fact that they've been even as a kid, that they've been involved in a coaching relationship, then now I know they understand and respect coach and player, authority, subordinate. And so if they've already got that grounded in them, then they're going to fit really well because that's who I am, is I'm a coach.
What are some of the ahas when someone walks in that office of yours? Let's say they're a preschool teacher walking in there, or someone that worked for a broker that wasn't really doing the prospecting that your agents do, which we're going to get into what that is here in a minute. What are some of the ahas? Well,
I mean, the first thing, it's more of a, whoa, wow, okay, this is what real estate's all about? So first, it's usually first almost like a shock, like, oh, wow, this is what realtors do. And then, and then of course, I share with them, no, that's not normal that realtors do that, but, but the reality is if you're going to learn the business, you're going to have to learn how to generate. Our business is generation. And so the ahas are, after they go through the shock, the aha becomes, oh, so I can control my destiny. Yes, you can. See, those who generate, who know how to generate, which is what I teach everybody, if you learn how to generate, you're in control of your business. If you're sitting there waiting for someone else to generate, whether it be pay-per-click, whether it be Zillow, whether it be any of these valuation tools, all great tools, but if you're waiting for that, those tools control you. So if Zillow shuts down and all these people are on Zillow, then where's their leads going to come from? They're going to be lost. So think about it. If you know how to generate, then you control your business. If you're waiting for people to generate for you, then they control you. And
we're going to get into all the things that we're going to get into all the things that you do to generate. Let's talk about that first meeting. So I show up to your office, I walk around, I have those ahas. You find that I'm coachable, I want to be successful. What's the first meeting like? You sit down and say, all right, you really want to do this? Let's talk.
Yeah, so they would come in and take that little tour, and then somebody, and I would just leave. I wouldn't even hang around with them while they're doing that. I just let them go and listen to my other agents. And then I say, hey, look, I'm going to be gone by the time you're done with this. Give me a call if you want to talk again. And then if they call, because not all of them are going to call, some are going to say, well, this is not for me, right? I'm really not that serious about a career. So if they call back, then we sit down and I just start talking to them. Hey, what are you looking to accomplish? Why are you getting into real estate? What kind of goals do you have? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Can you see yourself prospecting? How do you feel about using scripts and dialogues and whatnot? So that's really what the conversation is.
Okay. So I say, okay. So I say, okay, I'm ready to go. Go ahead, Greg.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, Greg, when you're sitting down there and going over all that, do you go over any kind of expectations, what's achievable the first year? Because I know I've talked to some agents, they say, I met with my broker, and they said, it's not going to happen very quickly, and maybe I'll be lucky if I sell 4 to 6 homes a year. I mean, do you go over and go over kind of, if they do certain things, what to expect and kind of set up that mindset?
Yeah, so the way I approach it is this. That's a great question. I approach it like I ask you. So, Jeff, I'm just kind of curious. What would you like to accomplish within the first year and maybe your second year of the business? And then you tell me, well, I'd like to, make 100,000, or you might. Some people say 30,000. Some people say, 200,000. Whatever the number is, and I then say, okay, well, that is obtainable, even if it's not realistic, based on our averages in our industry. Being realistic and being obtainable are two totally different things. See, it's obtainable as long as you're willing to do what it's going to take. So if you tell me you want to make $100,000 your first year, it's obtainable. Now the question is, are you willing to make the sacrifice necessary to make that happen? Now most people, for $100,000 in their first year, they wouldn't be willing to make those sacrifices. I might tell them, this is just kind of a joke, but in order to make $100,000, you got to call 500 people a day. I mean, contact 500 people a day. Well, they're like, no, there's no way I can do that. And I say, I agree, unless you sacrifice, all of your family time. And then, well, I can't do that. I said, okay, good. So depending on what you say, I do believe we can write a business plan for you to reach any goal that you want to reach, but I don't believe you will make the sacrifices that it's going to take to reach every single goal. So I go that route.
Okay. All right. You can go ahead, Frank. Sorry for interrupting.
No worries, man, at all. I love the information Greg gives. All right, so I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We're going to get into the daily schedule and the scripting and the script certified and what you do from day one here in a minute. But let's just jump back. And Terry had a great question as we kind of follow the storyline of starting from very, very beginning and bringing them into a top producer. How do you even find these agents to recruit? Are they coming to you because of the activity and buzz about your high-producing agents?
Yeah, that's most of the people that come to me are coming to me because they want someone to help develop their business. So what will happen is in my market is people know that my per agent production is very high. Okay. People also know that I've got agents doing well over 100 deals a year that were actually just 5 years ago they were not even in the business. So not only is the per agent production high, but the ramp up speed, the time that it took from them to go to zero to a very big business was very short. So that information gets out there in our market, whether it be my centers of influence or whether it be other real estate agents. I get people calling me that tell me, hey, my friend with XYZ company, which could be a competing company, told me that if I was going to go into real estate that it has to be with you. So I get a tremendous amount of referrals. I'm not really going out there and doing heavy recruiting. It's very seldom. It's usually people are seeking me out. Now, that's also a very important part of the puzzle, because if they're seeking me out and my reputation is I can coach them, then they're already coming with the right mindset. Usually they're saying, just tell me what to do, I'll do it. That's usually how the interview is. Okay, just tell me what to do. Somebody told me if I just do what you say, then I will be okay.
Great.
Greg, do you work on mindset with the agents once you get going?
Every day. Every day. I mean, working on mindset. I mean, the best way to to work on others' mindsets is to work on your own. So I have to be an example. And so, if I want people to be positive, then I better be the one that's in that office positive, and that stuff's contagious.
Right. And then are there certain things that you guys do specifically to work on mindset, or is it different per agent, or you just have general, because some people have the mindset of Tom Nickley, and some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, the right attitude.
I'm constantly, putting inspirational things in front of them, recommending books, or, maybe like, say, Matthew Ferry, good friend of mine, I'll call Matthew up and I say, hey, man, will you do me a favor for the next 2 weeks? Will you do a series of 5 or 6 calls with my company? And then we'll go through just a mental blitz where we're just, immersing ourselves in mindset type of conversations. Or Mike Fair, or any of the coaches that I'm involved with, I'm a client of. I'm just constantly keeping that type of message inside of the company all the time.
So you're constantly reminding them, honing in their mindset, and just keeping them focused, like a sharp tool. Then.
Yeah, and I say probably something that's very effective, and it's much easier to understand when you're around me than it is to just hear about it, because it sounds kind of, I guess, confrontational. If you hear a story about me, it's not the same as if you actually are with me, and that is, I will call you out on your negative mindset. If you've got a limited mindset, I will tell you about it. If you're sitting here telling me that you're trying to lose weight and then you're not working out, I will remind you that those two things don't go together.
So, Greg,
Right.
I want
Yeah,
to.
so I'm that guy. I'm the person that will be real with you. This is keeping it real. I keep it real.
Good, good. That's
So,
awesome.
Greg, I
That's
want to
what
get
love
back to
about
that
you.
meeting again. I want to get
Okay.
back to that meeting of you recruit them, they shadow you in your office, you have the ahas, they're motivated, you have the first meeting, you make sure it's a good fit. And I would assume that there's some point before their first day, you help them write a business plan to get them to the goal that they want.
I
Do you
don't
have
do it before the first day. No, I would say I don't really write a business plan until about their 90th day.
Okay,
That's
so we're
just
going to
as a
get to
new
that because
agent.
we have a lot of questions on sample business plans, and I want everyone to
Okay.
know we're going to get to that. But let's
Yeah.
follow the storyline.
Yeah.
After that first meeting, now what?
Okay, so I'm going to put them, so what I've done is, because there's a lot of training, to get somebody up and running very quick, there's a ton of information. I mean, we're talking about how to work we're a Real Geeks client, so I know we're not endorsing, we're not talking about Real Geeks, but we make sure that they see all the darn videos that are on the Real Geeks website on how to work their website. We make sure that there's a meeting set up, and all this is structured, that on day 3 they got to meet with the broker and go over a contracts class. So all this tedious stuff that they have to do, they get that done in the first week. Then I use Infusionsoft, and I've got a series, a 60-day training program that I have automated with all kinds of different videos that I've done. For 60 straight days, they have an assignment every day. And I will activate them in that Infusionsoft sequence. So they do day 1, they do assignment 1, but I'm monitoring their activity. So if they don't complete assignment number 1, 2 things happen. Number 1, an email comes to somebody in my office that says, these guys are slacking, and then that girl gets up the next morning, walks over to them and say, you need to complete assignment number 1, because if you don't complete assignment number 1, we don't even show you assignment number 2. Okay, and that
awesome.
goes on for the first 60 days. So by the time I've done that, then like one of the sequences or one of the assignments is you have to, here you got to print out your script book. Then you've got to read your scripts into a recorder, and you got to send me a link so I can actually hear your scripts. So all this is going, it's all automated. So I can do this in a high volume because I'm not having to physically do it. So that's going on for 60 days is that type of training. Now, at 8 to 11, for their first probably, say, 2 to 3 weeks, they're not doing those assignments in the morning. They'll do that in the afternoon. What they're doing in the morning is shadowing all my skilled real estate agents. And they're going to shadow every single agent that's in that office. And they're going to shadow tons of agents.
And what do they learn from that?
One of the things that they learn is when you hand somebody a script book and you say, okay, you need to learn these scripts, it's very intimidating, right? When you look at a script book, the script book is like, gosh, that doesn't sound too good. That the way that it reads and the way that it sounds is totally different. So you got these people, these new agents reading these scripts, and it looks very intimidating when you look at the way these scripts are formulated. So when they're shadowing, they actually get to hear one of my agents who's already learned the scripts at a high level, and they can actually see how it's applied in the real world. And then all of a sudden, they're not as intimidated. They're like, oh, well, that didn't sound that bad. That actually sounded pretty good. So we need to connect the two to give these people confidence that they're going to be able to do this.
Yeah, great.
That's about 2 weeks of shadowing, right?
Yeah, I mean, 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, everyone's different, It just, I'm not going to push somebody to get on, generating too quickly. I do have to kind of, understand that everyone's different. Some people might want, more shadowing. I've got people that's shadowing they're still shadowing after a month, and that's okay. I mean, that's, no big deal.
So now, let's talk about now. It's time to do it. All right. So how long from when you hire them, they go through the training, now they actually get on the phones and they say something? How long is that period?
Okay, so it could be anywhere from, I've had them as quickly as 2 weeks, and then I've had them take as long as nearly 2 months. The trigger is they have to be script certified. That's the trigger. So it doesn't matter. They're not allowed to get on the phones until they're script certified. Period.
Hey,
what is
Greg,
that?
Yeah, I was just going to ask the same thing. What is script certified? And how does
I give them a book of scripts, and they have to go and memorize those scripts, and then they have to, in a live, scenario, there's myself and there's a few other people that are authorized to script certified somebody, and what that means is they have to set up an appointment with one of us, and they have to demonstrate that they actually know the scripts and standing up right in front of us.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, listen, we owe it to the consumer to know what the heck we're talking about. If you were to go get certified to operate on somebody, you wouldn't just like get a license to go operate. You'd get you have to go through a process. You practice on dummies before you go practice on humans. And so it's the same thing. And you know what? We owe it to the consumer. In my opinion, and I'm, can have strong opinions on this, I believe if we are not certifying them, if we are not making sure that they know the conversations, then we're committing malpractice. Our people need to be skilled. We're managing hundreds and thousands of their dollars, and yet we send people out there in the real estate field, and we allow them to go just start conducting, real estate transactions with people. They don't even know what they're doing.
So let's talk about the daily schedule. So someone comes in, they actually have to start working. Now, how many, just to give perspective, everybody, this is a call center floor almost, stand-up desks with plexiglass in between everybody. And there's how many agents in there every morning calling?
There's probably 25 to about 25 agents consistently every morning.
Okay.
Not everyone in the company calls. I mean, there's more people in my company that don't call every day than actually do call every day. So that is a myth that everyone has to call at my company. It's actually not the case. It's just the ones that are that committed are the ones that are producing at very high levels.
Okay, so let's talk about the daily schedule for someone who does want to produce at a high level. They just started. I got my script cert. I'm ready to rock.
Yeah.
Now
Yes.
what?
So you get on the phone, and you're going to start calling around a just sold. The first thing that I'm going to teach you how to do is call around a just sold. And you have not personally sold anything, so you will take a sold that we've had in the company, and your script will be, we just sold. You won't say I just sold. You'll use like a we just sold.
And that's just the Mike Ferry script?
Yeah, just the Mike Ferry script.
Which you can go to his website and get under
You
complimentary
can
download.
download all of his scripts for free on his website.
Okay.
So what is the schedule, though? You're saying just call, but they must, are you requiring them or helping them, or not, maybe not requiring, are you helping them set up a schedule based on their goals? And let's say if somebody wants to sell 35 or 40 homes their first year, what would that schedule look like? Or maybe even 50 homes. That might even be more exciting. I don't know.
Yeah, well, whatever the number is. I mean, the first thing is the first thing that I say to a new agent is I say, tell me what's going on in your life. Do you have any kids? Yes. How old are they? They're 7 years old. Okay. Who takes them to school? I do. Okay, good. Now I know right there if they're taking their kids to school that we're gonna have to schedule their life and then try to build a real estate business around it. Okay. Because I can't tell this person to come in and role play at 7:30. They're not going to be they wouldn't be able to get there yet. So I'm really going to start looking at what's going on in their life, and then see what time do they have available to actually sell real estate. Once I have that information, then I take whatever available time, because if it's I can't again after the honeymoon period of time, their life is going to take priority. They may do whatever they have to do day one to look good, but on day 90, they're going to actually go back to what their real schedule is. So I want to go ahead and get that out on day one, and then I'll figure out what they need to do. But typically, somebody that does not have to have obligations in the morning, about 3 days a week, they're going to come in at 7:30, and they're going to practice with other agents for 30 minutes, role-playing, practicing their scripts and dialogues, honing in on their skills. And then at 8 o'clock, if there's somebody that's comfortable with prospecting, at 8 o'clock, they're going to go ahead and get on the phone and start making some calls and see if they can find some listings. And they're going to do that for 3 solid hours. Right around 11 o'clock, they're going to stop, and then they're going to go and practice for 30 more minutes on role-playing and skills so they can hone in them skills. They'll go to lunch. They'll come back. Around 1 o'clock, they'll come back in, and they'll shadow other agents, do some additional shadowing. They'll start working on their Infusionsoft, on their the training, portal that we're giving them. They'll start clipping off all those assignments that they have, and they'll start role playing, and they might call a little bit more, and then they go on home and do it over again.
That's great.
So you're basically helping them customize it around their schedule, and there is some flexibility, but you also let them know and keep it real and say, hey, if you have this goal, you need to put in this X amount of time prospecting and stuff.
Yeah, depending on what their goal is, that yes, I will tell them what's going to be required. And again, if there's somebody that's not going to prospect, I mean, there's people out there that come straight into business. They say, I just want to do direct mail. And I say, fantastic. So how many deals do you want to do? Well, if I could just do 20 deals a year, I'd be happy. Okay, good. Well, based on statistics, you're probably going to have to do this many direct mail pieces. It doesn't really matter what their generation strategy is.
Mm-hmm.
We can build a business plan to actually support their goal based on what they're comfortable doing.
So let's get then to day 90. So they're just crushing phones and following the plan and getting in the system for the first 90 days. And doing what you shared, okay? Before we get into the business plan, because you talked about the day 90, is there any marketing taking place in those first 90 days, or is it 100% phones for your this top producing agent story that you're telling here? Are they getting email addresses or nothing like that?
Yeah. So there's no marketing from the standpoint of no paid marketing. So I'm never going to ask a new agent to start or even suggest they need to start spending money on any type of marketing. But what they're doing while they're prospecting, the thing about prospecting is, we have to make X amount of calls to get one yes, but people never figured out what to do with all the no's. So what I've trained them to do is when they get a no, I'm not thinking about selling, then of course they ask them for the email address, and they've got a script, ask them for that email address, and then they put it in the database. And once they put it in the database, then they're going to work, or we as a company, we're going to then help them send out their two monthly newsletters like you have with viral marketing. We're going to send out the two newsletters a month. And then, of course, we use Infusionsoft on the back end of that, where as people are clicking, we get notified and we start identifying leads. But the key is that entire time they're building that database up, because we know over the next year that's going to be a very critical component, especially in year 2. They're going to get quite a bit of business from that component. So they get a lot of that done in the first. They're always going to be collecting email addresses, but that's something that they do day 1 before they ever get on the phone. They're already trained of the importance of building a database. That's part of the training I do through Infusionsoft.
Great. Hey, Greg, I'm going to have you take your microphone that's on your headset here and just try to move it away from your lapel because it's scratching and we can hear the scratching.
Okay. Cool.
Just whatever. All right. Okay, so the only marketing they're doing is just getting email addresses and putting in your system that has educational content going out that your company is writing to the agents' databases. So they don't have to even deal with it, which is awesome.
That is correct. Yeah, I don't want them to get bogged down in things. First of all, they don't have the skills at this point. They don't have skills to write the content. They wouldn't know the frequency or even about how consistent you have to be. So we're going to kind of take all that for them. I try to keep this very simple. I have my company. The infrastructure in my company is there to service and support the agent. And so if I can just get the agent generating activities, I will clean everything up. I just want them out there hunting. Go out there and hunt. You go out there and fish. Bring the fish in the boat. I will clean it. Our infrastructure will clean it. We'll cook it, and we'll serve it right on the plate for you. But right now, you got to get out there, and you got to go out there and hunt.
Okay. So we're at 90 days. This is the number 1 voted question. Number 1 question right now.
Okay.
Does Greg have a sample business plan he can share? And what is a business plan? And how does that plan take place?
Yeah, so I will say this. I still use the Mike Ferry business plan that you can go to the MikeFerry.com website and download it. I still use that business plan. I am not one of those guys that has this, business plan that, it's got 150 different items on the plan. I really only need to know how many days are you going to work, how many hours are you going to prospect, how many contacts are you going to make, how many appointments is your goal to set, how many listings are you going to take, how many buyer appointments you're going to go on, how many buyer appointments deals do you want to do, and then from that standpoint, if I just hold people accountable to those numbers right there, everything will work out.
That's easy.
So it's simple. Yeah, I'm not smart enough to figure out complicated.
Hey, Greg, I had a question here too. What do they really need to master to produce at a high level? I mean, what do these agents really need to be focusing on and mastering to produce? And it may be more than one thing to really produce. Because we may have agents that are at 25, 30 deals, but they really, what do agents really need to master to take it to that next level that most agents aren't willing to do?
What they have to master is they got to master self-generation. They have to master how to generate leads. But the key is they need to learn how to master self-generation. I say that because if they don't, then they're not in control of their business. Okay. If they do master it, they are in control of their business. It's that people just don't understand this. So what happens is before they master lead generation, here's what happens. Typical real estate agent gets into the business, and then right before, they start prospecting, and then all of a sudden they get this email from some coaching company or some company that has this great widget that's going to change the business, and you're going to get all these listings and all these buyer contracts because you sign up for this $59 a month thing, right?
The secret sauce, right?
Yeah, the secret sauce.
Inner secrets revealed.
Yeah, so you got to remember, this new agent right now is working their butt off in the beginning, and they're not seeing a result because it takes time to generate momentum. And then all of a sudden they've got these stories on the internet about all these people that see instant results. So then what do? They go and sign up. And when they sign up for that tool too early, they stop generating. And then that's the end of their career. And then all they're in is this tailspin of spending money. I say master lead generation, and then use all those tools to complement a solid foundation. Those tools, hey, look, I use a lot of tools, but I have a foundation that's built on self-generation, so those tools don't control me. They don't own me.
All right, so they need to master self-generation, and then where do you think, as far as repetitious boredom, role-playing, listing, where does that fall in? I mean,
well, the hardest thing about mastering lead generation is you have to actually master repetitious boredom. So the reason why most people don't stay with generation is, well, some people say it's, I don't want to be rejected. I actually don't necessarily believe that's the case, but most people cannot focus on the boring for long periods of time. And if you can't master repetitious boredom, you can't master lead generation. So they go hand in hand. It is probably the most critical mental thing you have to master.
I would say that comes back to the mindset, right?
Yes, it's all mindset. Yeah.
You got to have the right mindset, and knowing that if you're doing this, you got to be in the mindset. I mean, what would the mindset be? I mean, I know what my mindset used to be, but what is yours, or what was yours?
Well, what I've done is I look at people that we would call legends.
Right.
If you look at legends, and is different than somebody that's great at what they do. If you look at legends, and typically, most legends are already passed away by now. They're not they're not still alive. They're dead, right? But if you look at them, what they did is they did some simple things, but they were so stubborn they did it their entire life. You take Michael Jordan, obviously, whether you call him a legend or not, he is a legend. I mean, but what did he do? I mean, one day he's in a game, he closes his eyes, shoots a free throw, and makes it. You know how boring it was, how many years he spent shooting free throws to get into a position to be able to close his eyes in a game and have the confidence to sink that shot? He mastered repetitious boredom. You know how many things he missed as a kid because he walked to the court every single day and he played ball? Right. And we can go whether it's sports stars or whether it's in the arts or whether it's in whether it's even people that have done amazing things with philanthropy. You'll see that they all mastered something, and it was probably boring. So I keep that in my mind. I got to be like them.
Yeah, and I think you got to find that why. And something like, because I used to call expired listings every day. I mean, hours, right? And my mindset and my belief was like, I'm the best agent to help these people because they they got a raw deal the first time. So my mindset was, if I didn't keep calling and dealing with the no's and the, hey, I'm not ready right now, and why are you the 20th agent calling? My mindset was like, I would be doing them a disservice if I didn't keep calling them, because they'd get stuck with another deadbeat agent that gave them some false information, and that's why their home didn't sell. So that's what kept me going every day. So you got to find out why, or some sort of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
Well, guys, we got a ton of questions. I think with the last 20 minutes, we should drill through some of these.
Okay.
So,
You think so?
you're a popular man, Greg. Greg wants to know, do you offer a copy of your script book, because people are building expired listing teams? Or
listen, listen. This is no joke. I use the Mike Ferry scripts. They're for free on the Mike Ferry website. Listen, if you guys, think that there's a magic pill with our scripts, just call my agents and act like you're, a seller, and they'll start using a Mike Ferry script on you. We use the Mike Ferry scripts. That's it. Very simple.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Here, let me throw this one out. It's not just the script. It's how you communicate and how you respond and engage and listen to them. So, the
reality is every coaching company's scripts actually work. It's just how it's really more about the delivery than it is about the actual script itself.
I agree.
Greg, I got a great question from Dan Trapp. Greg, why have your agents prospect? Why not just have them be closers and have inside or outside sales prospectors, and pass those leads off to agents to close?
We could do that. We could do that, but I just don't believe. This is me, okay? My company is. This is my perspective. My company is a coaching company. My job as an owner of my coaching company, which, hear me clearly, I own a few Century 21 offices, not a formal coaching company. But I think of my company as a coaching company, and the agents that work for me actually are hiring me to coach them. I'm in the business development industry. My job is to develop people who want to get into the real estate agent business, develop them as top producers, and allow and help them reach these amazing goals. That's the business I'm in. The question, which is a great question, of why not just do that? Well, that would be me being in the real estate business and being a producer and just trying to do a bunch of deals. That's not the business that I'm in. I'm not saying that somebody can't do that, but that's not the business I'm in. I'm in the agent development business.
And they would no longer be generators like you said earlier. They'd be dependent on you, and then if they ever moved on, you're actually helping them build sales skills they can take in another sales industry, because you're teaching them how to generate and actual sales skills. It can be applied anywhere.
It always comes back to, what's my intention? My intention is to develop other people. My intention is, and so I believe that that wealth is created when you help enough other people generate wealth.
Here's another loaded question. What are your feelings? I think you already covered this. What are your feelings on call centers?
Call centers? In a way, I've got 20 or 5 people calling every morning. I've got real estate agents. Do I have a call center? No, I don't have a call center. Have I inspired 25 or 30 real estate agents to get up every morning and generate business for themselves? Yes. Isn't that what a call center does? Now, I do believe that because I'm developing these agents and I'm training them and I'm listening to them every single day, I do believe that my conversion will be superior to any call center out there.
How much of your business is internet related from your website, and what kind of marketing do you do, such as online SEO, pay-per-click, paid ads, etc.?
Yeah, so from the buyer's side of the business, buyer transactions, a ton of that's coming off the internet. So I jumped on, when I created or purchased a Real Geeks website, I really got involved in SEO early on. So years ago, when I built my site, I didn't go the pay-per-click route. I went the just build the site with quality content. And so if you were to Google Myrtle Beach real estate right now, just as an example, you'll see that Zillow will be number one. It's pretty much number one just about in all of our towns. But besides Zillow and Trulia, you're going to see that there's the number one website is going to be myrtlebeachrealestate.com. I own it. The number two real estate website is going to be C21, the HarrelsonGroup.com. I own it. Those two websites alone are generating around 350 to 400 buyer leads a week. So
That's
without
cool.
any pay-per-click. But I invested a lot of money in SEO and building the website to get there.
People ask, do you do door knocking? I would think not.
No, we don't. We don't. It's very effective, though. It's very effective. We just don't do that.
Okay. Who would a brand new agent call when prospecting to start building their database, and where would they get the info?
Yeah, I mean, they would call around maybe another agent's just solds in the in their office. They got another agent probably sold something, hopefully. Then they would pull up a list out of their courthouse records, look up the telephone numbers, and start calling them and let everybody know that, hey, this just sold, and when one sells, two more sell right away. So when do you plan on moving?
Okay.
Expires and FSBOs are great too.
Yeah.
You mentioned Infusionsoft. Do each of the agents in your office have their own Infusionsoft? Do they use that software in their business?
So I have a Infusionsoft account myself. And then each one of my agents has a user account within my master account. So that's the way that as they're building their database, then I can create certain sets of content myself, and then I can distribute it to all of those databases at one time, but individually branded, in the individual agent's name. So it's not branded with me, it's branded with them. So, but to do that, they have to be users of my account.
Yeah, and I just want to share what Greg said there. People can wrap their head around it because we talked about this years ago. And I know you've automated this, Greg. But
yes.
Greg will sit down once a month and write 2 unique pieces of content, 2 videos, 2 writers, whatever. Okay, and then that will go through. And you have how many accounts in your Infusionsoft for the agents you're sending this on behalf of?
There's about 60 users.
Oh my God! So
yeah.
Someone had to go through and copy and paste that into 60 different email templates with each agent's branding at the top. And then that newsletter with their branding from them goes out to their own list. So when you are an agent in Greg's office, you put the email into the database, 2 educational messages a month come from you with your branding out to your own list automatically. Is that correct, Greg?
That is correct. Yeah, and I mean, that's just, yeah, but now what I've done in addition to that is now every single time a property sells, so every Monday, every time we have a staff member that'll look and say, what sold the previous week? And then I have a just sold email that she'll send, and so let's just say it's in the Anderson community. Then we just sold one last week in Anderson community, so she'll go send the just sold email to every single person in the database that owns in that particular community, and it'll actually come from the person that has that person in their database, the agent that has that person in their database. So now we're doing just sold emails every single week, and you're out there prospecting on Monday, and then next thing you know, you get these emails and it says, hey, yes, I'm thinking about selling, can you call me? I mean, that's my job. If you'll work, I'll work. That's the trade.
What about the new agent training? I mean, could someone experience that but not be an agent in your office? Like the whole 60-day plan, the 60-day drip campaign?
I'm not sure if they were just a random agent, you mean? Is somebody asking, can they get involved in that? No, that is proprietary just for my agents.
Just for agents?
That's my secret sauce.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you for asking, though.
And it's secret
move to
because
Myrtle
it's not
Beach.
going
Move to Myrtle Beach or Charleston. If you move to Myrtle Beach or Charleston, you're all in.
So, Romy, I want to let you know that I tried, but his manual, that is proprietary, he asked, and that was voted up quite a bit. All right. Let's see here. Can Greg go over his expired system? Does he do you do any mailings, or is it all just phone calls?
We do some mailings. I mean, we're not a big mail company, but I mean, I would be lying to say that we don't strategically do some mailers. It's just a very, small portion of what we do. I mean, we're making calls, and we are working these databases. I mean, that's really what we're doing.
Okay.
And then we got a lot of buyer business. You got to remember, we do get hundreds of buyer leads every week.
Okay. I do want everyone to know that they can go to your website. What's your website? Real Geek site. What is it?
Oh, that's what is it? The Century? No.
Myrtle Beach.
It's C21, the Harrelson Group.
That's it.
C21, the Harelson Group, and you can go down to the bottom of the page.
Yeah.
And you can see all of the newsletters that Greg sends out to his database are published out at the very bottom.
Yeah. After we send them, then we post them on the website.
Great.
Hey, Greg, I got a question. You know, what can keep their ego in check as they grow? Because you probably train these guys up. They start doing a lot of production, and then their egos start getting out of control. How can they keep their ego in check and stay focused without thinking they're bigger than they really are?
Yeah, I tell you, first of all, when somebody's ego's out of control, usually they're focusing on their result. So they're looking on their result. They're not looking at the process. So when somebody says, "Oh man, yeah, I just sold 100 deals this year," first thing I look at that and I'm like, "Well, what does that mean? Who cares? I mean, 100 deals. You know how many people are doing 100 deals now? So I just go right at them. I said, "What does that mean?" And I said, instead of let's measure your result and get to instead of start looking about how you good at, let's look at your daily activity. Let's look at what you're doing. You realize that you're not doing this and you're not doing that? I mean, what life could be like if you would actually just get focused, And so, if you want to have a big ego, go ahead. It typically doesn't happen in our office. It's just not the culture. The culture is not to have a big ego. The culture in our office is everyone's trying to help their other agent. The other agent, we're really like a team. I mean, a family. When a rookie comes in, a new agent comes in my office, you'll see all the top producers are going up to that person and say, "Hey, you call me. Here's my cell number. You have any questions? You need me to help you negotiate something. You need me to go on a listing appointment." Everyone's actually trying to help each other, and I think that keeps a lot of the egos in check.
So the more experienced top producing guys are sharing and masterminding with them and reaching out and saying, like all agents should be doing, right?
Yeah, because you got to remember, my top producers were just that person 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Greg,
so they owe it.
Yeah, I agree.
Greg, great question from Terry. How do you find time to coach and manage 45 agents, plus still be a top producer closing over 160 deals? I think it's 190 deals.
190 deals. 190 deals, not 60.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm not. So I've prospected. I was calculating, and between myself and those that I've worked with in my company, whether in the past when I had a team that was and it was all about my production, and if we look at it, we've made over 1 million contacts since I've been in the business. 1 million. Now I've been in the business for 20 years, and I was a prospector before I was even licensed, because I was a prospector for my dad. Okay, while I was going to college. So I've been prospecting for all 20 years. Have made, as a company that I've been involved with, or that I've managed, over 1 million contacts in my career. I've got databases that produce a lot of business for me. So all of my business, I'm not out there calling an expired anymore. Today I do not do that. I haven't done that in years. But I'm still getting calls every day, or at least every week, and taking listings. Okay, so what I do is, while my staff, or my agents I should say, are in the office from 8 to 11, I'm in there with them, and I have a station just like theirs, and I return all the calls that people are calling me about listing their property. I return those calls from that position. So what ends up happening, for 3 hours a day, I'm actually generating. I just don't have to do the calling part. I'm just presenting. So all my agents get to hear me present for 3 hours a day. So I'm actually multitasking. While I'm earning, I'm actually coaching. So that's 15 hours worth of coaching every single week that I'm putting in by just letting everyone observe me. Very important. So I'm being an example, and I'm leveraging myself.
Awesome.
That's great. And also, you mentioned earlier too that you have worked so hard and got your database system set up, and your content's so legit that those 190 deals, the majority of them are inbound, contacting you,
Yeah,
versus
they're
you
all
having to
inbound.
hunt them out, then you having to go do the outbound. So I want to keep that in mind, where you're not grinding it out every day to get those 190. They're just coming to you. Then you're
Yes.
coaching, and then when you follow up with those people, that's your coaching opportunity for the office, I would assume.
Yeah, and so this is because I know the subject is creating top producers, so it's very important to understand that when an agent comes to my office, whether they're a brand new agent or maybe they're an agent doing 20 deals a year and they want to do 100, I'm thinking day one that they're going to have to work their butt off, and part of it is so they can make money quickly, but another part of it is so they can build a database quickly. So here's what's going to happen. On day one, they're going to be calling and calling and calling, and they're building their database, and they get nothing from their database because it takes a while for that to mature, okay? But they're going to call some more, build a database, call some more, build a database. While they're calling, they're getting their skills are getting better and better and better. Now they're starting to get business. They're getting business from their calling. Year one, they're getting business from their calling, but no business from their database. Year two, they're getting more business from their calling, some business from their database. Year three, they're getting more business from their calling, a lot of business from their database. Year four, they're getting more business from their calling, a ton of business from their database. Year five, they're a top producer. See, it takes time. So I'm already focusing on the calling creates the database. And then at some point, you'll make all your money from the calling in the beginning, but the database is going to mature, and you're going to meet up around the 4th or 5th year, and both things are going to be, it's like two powerful engines working. You've got inbound people calling you, and you're still making calls. Combine those two things together, now you got a top producer.
Great.
That is so critical.
Hey, Greg, because we're
That's
talking
something to listen to
database-
again, you just said. That was
Yes,
good.
that is actually something that I think if anybody is really interested in this topic, that should be, we should get a brand that into our minds.
Hey, Greg, so because they are building their database, and it's very important for long term, and they got to be patient.
Yes.
But can you just go a little bit deeper on the importance of what they're sending? Because people are watching this, they're saying, hey, I'm building the database, and I'm going to send them stuff. And like I said earlier on, most people aren't sending very good stuff. So can you just hit on that, how important that is?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything. Because, see, when it comes to databases, I mean, if you call somebody, you know how quickly somebody can hang up on you if they don't want to actually listen to you? Well, think about how fast they can delete your email. They can delete your email faster. They cannot open your email. So the critical thing about the internet and database marketing is people have the power. People are in control. So if it doesn't have value, they are not going to listen no matter what. And so people are opting out, unsubscribing, claiming things are spam every single day, because and what that means is that whatever you sent, they saw no value. So you have to think about this. Don't think of yourself as being the sender of content. Think of yourself as being the receiver of content. Every time you create an email, ask yourself, you read it and ask yourself, did that matter to you? Did that make a difference to your life? Was it relevant to you? And if the answer is no, if you're creating emails because you got to, check that item off your list, don't send it. You need to create an email where you look at it and say, holy cow, man, I mean, I need to do this myself. Or
Right.
this was information I need to know. I need to react to my own emails, then send it. And that's the key is in our society right now, people are just using email as a way to promote. So what you have to do is use emails as a way to educate. The person who will give will actually receive. But most people build emails to get, not to give.
Yeah, I would agree. They're sending all this garbage just to, to touch them, drip on them, but they're not educating. They're not giving these people anything except, filling up their damn email box. So I agree. If you're educating them, you're also building.
People don't want to be touched.
No, they want to be educated. And
yeah.
I don't know.
No, that's
Okay.
great.
I think we're about out of time. Is there any other zinger or really good? Yeah, enough of that. Because
hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 30, 40 questions.
Oh my God. Okay, but is there any that are just, I don't know.
I think the only thing people would probably want to know, if I had to choose, is compensation in some way. I mean, how does an agent get paid in your office? What are the splits? I think it's a pretty typical question. You know?
Yeah, the splits are just, the thing is there's splits that range just like every other company. I mean, it could be 50-50, could be 80-20. The splits are one of these conversations everyone wants to know. What's the split? You know what? Here's the reality. Is this all about net? It's all about net. It's not about split. It's about net. But to answer the question, I'm just like every other company in town. Am I 100% split? Absolutely not. But my split will be relative to what I have to actually contribute. If I don't have to contribute anything, hey, go out there, make all the money, give me a little bit of it, cool. But if I'm practically going to make the business for you, then I'm going to be rewarded for it. And then over time, as you become, as you become more self-sufficient and it's taking less of my involvement, then obviously the financials will adjust accordingly.
Great. Jeff, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. So I just wanted to remind everybody, if they want to find out more about database marketing and email, because we kind of hit hard on that at home, and that's how Greg has built his 190 inbound stuff over the years, you need to go to the keepingitreal.com, and it's the second episode we did, so the second from the bottom, and the title is How to Get More Business from Your Database. And I mean, get your pencil and paper ready, because there are a lot of nuggets. And then the next Keeping It Real, we're going to have a guest, Mark Martin. He's an Austin real estate agent and also a coach. And they're doing a really good job of converting portal leads. So the topic's going to be, I don't know the exact topic, but it's going to be something to the effect of how to convert a higher percentage of portal leads. So if you are getting Zillow leads, Trulia leads, Realtor.com leads, or other type of leads, you really want to tune in, because he's going to go in and explain how they're converting a higher percentage of those. Okay?
Great.
So, hey, Greg, thanks a lot for joining us. I really appreciate it. And hopefully agents are watching this. They saw a lot of value out of this. And there is a lot of value. Hopefully they think of you when they got a referral there in Myrtle Beach or Charleston.
Yeah, or if they know anybody that wants to get into real estate, hey, I'm here. I'm looking for someone else to develop right now.
Awesome. All right, and thanks again, as always, to Frank. He's I don't know. He is really great.
Get it done.
He's funny looking.
He's not that funny looking. Come on. No, but he really helps get these off, and his team and his staff are great, and we would not be doing these if it wasn't for Frank saying, hey, I can help you do these, and I'll have my team. And, if you're looking to send something of value also to your database, I would look up Frank too, because his team, they help generate a couple valuable things. They'll teach you how to do videos and send it to your database.
Yeah, we'll get it all up on the Real Geek side too.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, hey guys, thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode. Aloha.